The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
My name is Chris. This is Hannah, and we are live out at Durbins right now for the EP Podcast. This is our first thing that we have done since, like, in public since the pandemic. Hannah, are you super pumped?
I am so excited. They put her name on the sign.
I know. I didn't see it. Like, I feel like the sign was like in one direction was that, and the other direction was something completely different. I entered from the wrong direction.
You did. You came the wrong way.
I didn't even know I was on the sign. I'm like super excited about
They
it.
knew I was coming from that direction, so they made sure I saw it.
We're at 102nd and Kedzie at Durbins of Evergreen Park, and it is all brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Listen, they have been with us for a long time, and they have been here in Evergreen Park for a very long time in that iconic building at 95th and Pulaski. First National Bank of Evergreen Park knows when you're working toward a financial goal, every little bit counts. That's why when you open up a Total Access checking account, $300 bonus. Plus, you get great mobile and online banking tools. I use them because the EP Podcast banks with the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. You have easy access to your money, plus a little extra to start the year off right. Open online at bankevergreenpark.com/total access. $100 required to open. Requirements to qualify. Must use link to apply. Member FDIC. We'll be talking with them in moments. They're here at Durbins. I've had some pizza, I have a drink in front of me, and I have a great guest sitting here in between you and I, Hannah, and that is Mayor Kelly Burke. Hello, Miss Mayor. Am I supposed to say Ms. Mayor? Which one do you like?
Mayor.
Madam Mayor, Mrs. Mayor? Well, it was so much easier with Mayor Sexton because I just could go with Mr.
We'll go with Kelly.
There's so much that we could talk about today. Somebody asked me, like, what could you possibly ask the mayor about during an interview? And I was like, I don't know. If you notice that, like, there's massive construction up and down Kedzie. The railroads are driving you nuts. I saw you on Chicago News yelling about CSX, and you were right to do so. You have projects that you're dealing with. I don't know how the post office thing is working out. There's so much we can get to. What is the biggest thing on your plate right now?
Well, as you said, we've had some difficulties with the railroad. I mean, those are chronic, but they really seem to have spiked up. So Alderman Matt O'Shea and I kind of teamed up and got some press coverage about the difficulties. We were on, I think, Channel 7, we were on WGN, and you got to just keep the pressure up on these folks. They only respond to pressure, and so we've gotten some positive cooperation from the railroad. They're working to improve some signaling problems that they're having, which supposedly were causing the problems. So we'll see. It has gotten better. You know, our office is right next to the railroad track, so
it's hard for them to sneak around you.
Exactly.
It's hard for them to, to be like, no, that never happened. You're like, it's right outside my window. I can see it. Right, exactly. Here's the thing. As a citizen here in Evergreen Park, and knowing that the thing with CSX, with the fact that 95th and Kedzie can both be blocked in two separate spots at any given point, and it could last for a long time. I missed an entire T-ball game this year because of a train. I was cut off from my team.
I missed a Pilates class.
It's amazing that they were even able to play without their coach, those little kids. All right, but I was just sitting there. Yeah, they played because it's T-ball. Who cares? And they just went out there and just ran around and bumped into each other. But it's something that we've all had to deal with for a long time. I get the impression that since it's a railroad and since it falls at a federal level so much, it almost feels like they can feed you as much lip service as they want to. How much can you actually get done? Yeah, is there stuff that you can push and put pressure on to actually get things fixed?
Well, so it's all regulated, and I think we've gone through this in other podcasts, but it's all regulated at the federal level. So what locals what we just have to do is keep the constant pressure up and keep it in front of our federal representatives as an issue so that they're pushing it at the federal level to get some relief, because there is unfortunately very little that municipalities or counties can do. It's regulated at the federal level, but squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.
And let's face it, it's good to have railroads. We'd rather have that freight moving on a railroad than on a truck, blocking up our highways and our streets. So we understand that it's ultimately a good that we have railroads. but they need to be good neighbors, and they haven't been.
Right. And did they give you a lot of notice? Like they shut down 99th recently at Rockwell. Are they giving you enough notice on things like that?
Yeah, we get plenty of notice. When they plan their maintenance, those crossing rebuilds pretty far in advance, so they do give us a lot of leeway on that.
All right. Well, let's get off of all the intense talk. I jumped right in with something. I just like,
Jeez.
I mean, seriously, like that's not like normal.
I thought we were
for
going
us.
to talk about the farmers market.
I know. Let's talk about the farmers market. I missed you the other day over at the farmers market. I was supposed to be out there, and it turns out, and I said this on the last show, the COVID-19 vaccine only protects against COVID-19. I don't know if you're aware of this, but me going out in the public, I just ended up with something completely different, and I had to fight through it last week, and that's why we ended up missing each other. But you are out there at the farmers market each and every Thursday right now, and I'm going to tell you, first of all, I've been to it now over the last couple of years, and it keeps getting bigger and better, and more people are going there. Tell me what you've observed out there. Have you pressed the flesh? Heard from constituents? Heard from citizens out there? What are you hearing?
Can we talk about what I've eaten?
Yeah, what have you eaten out?
Yeah, I want to hear that.
There's some good food out there.
The tamales are fantastic.
Oh yeah, those are good. Those are good.
I did get the empanadas last week. I've picked up a little bit. The produce is still rolling in.
Right.
But I've bought a whole bunch of plants. So
the empanada place is like maybe the funniest place that's out there. I laugh every time I go. Everything's $5.
Everything?
Everything. Can I get an empanada?
That makes it easy.
$5. Can I get a lemonade? $5. Everything's $5. If you buy the empanadas pre-made, they give you a box of 3, which is $15, so it's $5 an empanada. Everything is $5 at the end. They should call it $5 spot right there. Like they should just have a big $5 sign out there. It's great food. And that's the other thing, like they know it too. Like that's the place you show up and they're like, have you tried this yet? And you're like, no. And they're like, pooh, you're gonna love this. They're very cocky about their food, and rightfully so. That's some good stuff over there.
Yeah, so I'm trying to try something every week.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you tried the organic honey yet? They're over there all the time. I have not tried that either. Hey, I don't know. I mean, I like honey. I put a little in my tea, but then they have this like infused honey with like different flowers and different flavors, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm into this. Like, and if I am into it, I'm going to get hooked on something else that's going to cost me a ton of money. Like that's what makes me nervous going to the farmer's market. I'm going to get hooked into something else.
But it's all healthy.
They told me it was organic, and I was trying to figure out what would be
Well, if it's
non-organic.
local honey, it builds up your immune to the allergens in the area.
If it's local, is that how that
Yes.
works? Mm-hmm. Look at this.
Yeah, you take like a spoonful of the honey, and it builds up your immune system. And when certain allergens attack your body, you don't have like an allergy attack like you normally would. Your histamines are like more under control.
So what you want to have is local honey.
Local
is what you're
honey,
telling me.
yes.
Did you know
Yes.
that, Mayor Burke?
I did not. I've learned something new.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, you want local honey.
I came to Durbins at 102nd and Kedzie, and I learned all about local honey and histamines and everything. Can't wait. I'm going to the farmer's market on Thursday. I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the South Side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. Durbins is one of those places that, like, I knew it when it wasn't called the Durbins. It's been here forever, this building. But when you walk in here, it's a very different vibe than what I remember. It's nice. When you see people out now, as we come out of this whole thing the last 15 months, it must make you feel good about the future here in Evergreen Park and what the summer and the fall and the upcoming months and years hold for the village now after the last year and a half.
Yeah, I think people are really coming out, getting much more comfortable coming out. I know I live just down the street, and they've had bands, they've had music outside. It's really added a lot of liveliness to Kedzie.
Right.
It's great to see. And the place is beautiful. Hannah and I were just admiring, I would call this shiplap, maybe
Yeah, it has like
wall.
the shiplap wall in the back, the accent wall. I love the darker blue paint that they have. It looks nice.
Yep.
Super nice.
Very comfortable.
So have they changed all the signs yet? Do they say Mayor Kelly Burke all over the village yet, or when does that happen?
We're not doing that.
You're not doing it? You're leaving them to say Mayor James Sexton on them?
No. We took down Mayor Sexton,
Okay.
but we're just not replacing
We're
him.
not putting up Mayor Kelly Burke yet?
Why not?
Why not?
I'm good.
You're Mayor
Really?
Kelly Burke.
That's really, you know what? I get why you're not doing it. I understand. It's like, why spend money on myself? All right, and I got to respect that. I, on the other hand, would have flashing neon signs
Yes, you would.
that said Chris Lanuti won this election. Like, it would be everywhere. There'd be Chris Lanuti this, Chris Lanuti that. There'd be pictures of it. And, I would replace the sign with a picture of myself giving a thumbs up. And it would say, welcome to Evergreen Park, with a big double thumb. That's what I would be doing. You're not into that.
No, to each his own.
How much would that cost the taxpayers, Chris?
How much did you save? Do you know how much you saved taxpayers by not doing it? Did you actually look into it?
I do not. I should find that out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You have to use that. You
I'll
have to
have to
tell
find out.
people when you're doing that.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
that's what. Look, if you're
Who needs a sign when you're on the podcast?
Look at all those people in this great suburb driving down 95th and Kedzie. What a great place. It's called Evergreen Park, but we know it better as the EP. We're known for more than just the Unabomber. Remember Ted Kaczynski? You guys might even remember that big old rooster on 95th Street. It's all part of EP's history. So listen up to the EP podcast. You might be asking why. Because we talk about all things and we celebrate all the great things in the 60805. It's the EP podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP podcast. Evergreen Park.
What has been the thing you have heard the most since you got in? Because I would imagine once you got into office, you had a lot of people want to interact with you, want to tell you either their problems or things that they liked or things that they wanted changed or things that they didn't want to have changed and they were worried it was going to get changed. What are some of the things that you've been hearing from people when you first got in that immediately caught your attention?
I would say honestly the most common inquiry or complaint I've been getting is about traffic, and specifically about people, especially about traffic on side streets. I know this is something that you are very passionate about, but people wanting a stop sign, or people having a stop sign, but they say nobody
stops.
Exactly.
Nobody's adhering to the stop signs, and
people speeding.
That gets me. That really gets me. That's like one of those things that we've actually started saying that if we observe people that are driving safely in Evergreen Park, the EP podcast is rewarding people for driving safely. Double the price if they have an EP podcast car magnet. But that is a thing that I think I've noticed that a lot of people are talking about. I see that in the Facebook rooms. I see that people are very concerned about traffic. I have a theory, and this is a crackpot theory. And you're welcome to tell me I'm a crackpot, but I feel like because there wasn't a lot of traffic over the last year and a half, because everybody kind of was interacting with each other differently, we almost have drivers out there that either haven't seen a lot of police cars pull people over, so they think they can get away with it, and that's not anything against the Evergreen Park Police at all, okay?
Right.
I want to make sure that that's clear. But I mean, the rules of engagement, I'm sure, were a little different when we weren't sure what kind of virus that we had. And then there weren't as many people on the road, and now everybody's returning and getting on the road and going out in the places, and they've forgotten how to act. Much like in the left field bleachers right now at ball games, there's more fights because nobody knows how to interact with each other anymore. Do you think that's a possibility?
I think that's a possibility. I also think that people are home more often because a lot of people are still working remotely, and so they have time to observe what's going on outside their door in a way they haven't. So they're seeing this more and more. And so to your point, it's all of us. So yes, there are probably some rude people who don't live in Evergreen who are driving quickly down our streets or not stopping at stop signs. But it's also a lot of our own residents.
Right.
And so we're So we're actually doing some. We're trying to work on a way to address some of these traffic complaints, specific to specific intersections. But the police can't sit at a stop sign all day and monitor.
No, they have to watch out for crime.
Yes.
That's the thing that, I get that. I get that they have to watch out for crime. They have to actually do police work and stuff, yeah.
So we're
That's why I want you to deputize me, Kelly.
Oh, God, that's what we need. Deputy Chris running around making citizens arrests.
Yeah, the citizen patrols, I don't know about that. But we're looking at other strategies, whether it's traffic management strategies or public relations strategies, similar to what you're talking about. Positive reinforcement of good behavior. And we're looking at what maybe successful campaigns to do this in other towns are and trying to incorporate it. So that's in the infant stages, but I really, we're all going to have to come together to decide we're going to drive courteously and adhere and make sure we're looking out for each other. But it's going to take almost like a lot of public service announcements or a public service campaign.
You've heard us talk about Cool Cloud's Vapor Shop, local Evergreen Park business that helps people stop smoking. In fact, they've been around right here in Evergreen Park since 2014, and they are open and ready now to help smokers get off of cigarettes with a $30 starter kit. A wide range of devices are available. Try a different flavor or a nicotine strength. And right now they're offering curbside pickup, delivery, and shipping options. Cool Clouds also has a growing selection of CBD products and recreational cannabis accessories. First-time customers, mention the EP podcast for 20% off your first purchase when you sign up for the rewards program. With gift certificates available, get one now for the smoker you want to get off cigarettes. Cool Clouds Vapor Shop, 3837 West 95th Street in Evergreen Park. Age verification is required, must be 21. Remember, quitting smoking is hard. Lucky for you, there's Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. We all know what's coming up here. It's just going to be like the 4 days of just explosions all over the village. How does Evergreen deal with that? I know that when I worked for the Cook County Sheriff's Police, when I was a dispatcher, we just laughed on that night because people would call up and be like, "There's fireworks going off," and we're like, "How do we stop that?"
They call 911.
People call 911 all night long for fireworks calls.
God.
It's insane the amount of calls that we get. Does the village end up with extra police? Does it have a way that it handles things on that weekend?
Yeah, I think the concern. I mean, most people have a little bit of.
Small amount of explosives.
An understanding of on July 4th, right? It's, when things are blowing off 4 days before and 2 days after, people are just sick of it. So what's difficult for the police is that they'll get a call, I'm on the 9000 block of such and such, and there's fireworks going off. And then that's all they have.
Right.
So what we've been asking people is, be as specific as you can about the address, because if the police are, they will go out and investigate.
No, they'll drive around.
They don't want anyone to get hurt,
right?
And they don't, and they understand that it can be a nuisance. But just think, the police cars driving down the street, they don't know exactly what they're looking for. The people who are blowing them off see them, they put
stop,
everything away,
right.
and they run.
So, and they don't have sunroofs, so it's harder to look out to the sky while they're riding along. Maybe that's what we need, sunroofs in the police vehicles.
Chris, you're just spending so much village money between your signs.
She saved all kinds of money on her signs. I'm getting sunroofs for the police department. They're going to love me for it. Imagine if I get pulled over in 6 months, and I go, "Hey, man, but I'm the guy who got you the sunroof." I might get out of there a ticket. That might happen. I'm just trying to work every game I can over here. All right?
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep those suggestions coming.
How's the balance been with Springfield and this so far?
It's been good. It was a little hectic. The first couple of weeks when I was a little more getting my feet wet. So I had some late nights, but after that, it's worked out pretty well. It's busy, but it's a really good busy. I'm really enjoying it.
I would imagine you're very similar to any small business, like a place like Durbins or anything else in Evergreen Park, where when you're trying to get something going and off the ground, you realize you have to do it.
Yep.
There's no way you can fail at it. So that's probably why it was it's going to be late nights because I'm not going to bed until everything is done in the day. I mean, was it like one of those things where early on you were sitting there going, "What did I do?"
No, it was never that much. But I'm a list maker by nature, and
then you're one of those people that looks at the list and goes, "Oh, I still got 5 more things."
Right, and then the list just kept growing and growing, and so I switched to lists made on sticky notes, so I could at least get rid of the sticky note and throw it out, and then the list moved around a little bit more. But there are a lot of details. You're right. It's like you're in charge of a bunch of people and a bunch of programs and things. The lights have to come on and the garbage has to get picked up, and you're responsible for it. So it's very detailed. But it's been great. The staff at the village, everybody, Public Works, the police, the fire, our administrative staff, the folks at the recreation department, everybody really pitches in and does a good job. So I'm very lucky.
I feel like, and I've said it before on the show, you guys did a really good job of supporting your local businesses during the pandemic. And you actually had some new businesses move in recently, and you seem to be constantly working towards bringing in new things. Is there anything right now in the hopper? Is there anything that you think is coming down the pipe soon? Are there businesses that we should expect to see in the next 6 months to a year?
We've had a couple small business that we have just approved at the last board meeting. One in the kind of salon, spa, facial space, and another lady who's young woman who's a musician and also an artist, and she's opening her art studio with art shows with friends that she's in. And so it seems great. But those are small local businesses that we love because it's nice and personal. But we do have a big announcement about a business that will be opening and coming to town in the former the Fifth Third building.
The Fifth Third building.
At 95th and Utica.
I've heard this rumor.
Yes. So I'm going to give you a scoop.
Okay.
Today.
We got a scoop.
So we are. It will be a Subaru auto dealership.
You're getting a dealership here in Evergreen Park.
Oh, wow.
A Subaru auto dealership. It's International Subaru, and they have sister dealerships, one in Orland Park and one in Countryside. And I've been out to the one in Orland Park, and it is a top-notch facility.
See, when I think of those, I think, okay, they take up a lot of room, which is also good taxes for the village, right? Like, this is basically a bunch of cars on a lot that's a moneymaker. I mean, is this one of the types of businesses that villages and suburbs probably clamor to get, because
100%.
these are money makers,
yeah.
Right?
And in this particular group, the owner had been looking in the south, closer in southwest suburbs for quite some time, and was having a hard time finding a parcel that was big enough in a town he wanted to come with. So that's a big property.
That's a big property.
It's a big property, so it's a really good use for it. He was very happy to come here. We're happy to have them, and looking forward, to seeing it start to take shape. So the demolition will be coming. They're still doing the prep work they need to do in order to bring that down, and then hopefully construction will be moving along quickly. So it'll be it's a great brand. It's a great asset to have in the village, not only for a tax base, but it's a product that people need and people want.
Right.
And it also will bring people to the village from all over the southwest suburbs and southwest side, and those folks, conceivably, they'll go shopping for a car, they might go stop and have a drink, they might go out for dinner, they might stop and shop.
That is a really good point. I don't know how Hannah shops for vehicles with her husband, but I know when we go shopping for cars, I basically show up at Eric and I will go hit a couple places and we make a day of it. It's like, I'm going to spend this much money, I'm also eating out.
Right.
If I'm gonna talk in those kind of terms with dollars, we're not going home and making a meal. I'm going to go out. There are times where I've actually broken off from talking with the dealer and walked into a nearby place to have a drink and talk it over with her.
Yeah.
Money's being spent in the village by the shopper that comes in to look at the cars, right?
Exactly.
That is incredible. I never thought of that as like a possibility.
I mean, it's big enough space over there, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Right.
I mean, what else is going to go in something that big?
And all the residents of Evergreen Park get a free Subaru, right? You worked that into the deal, Mayor?
That is not part of the deal.
Wow.
And obviously there will be employment opportunities, and those are good jobs.
Mayor Kelly Burke, who's joining us here at Durbins, I really appreciate you coming out and hanging out with us and sitting down. You were so good about it. You even had a Diet Coke in public.
Well, yeah, now I see a bunch of my friends are here, so
They're here,
I
yeah.
might.
Time to knock
I
off your
was
back.
going to go home and work out.
No,
but
now
forget
you're
it now.
going to be hanging with the gang here.
Exactly.
I really appreciate you coming and sitting down with us and talking
My
on the
pleasure.
EP podcast. And you've been. I got to make sure everybody understands this. Mayor Burke is so accessible. You've made yourself so accessible for us to be able to reach out and say, hey, can you come on the show? And I really appreciate you doing that. I mean, it's really nice, and we like the fact that we can kind of bounce things off you and ask you questions about what's going on in Evergreen Park. And just to remind everybody, if somebody wants to just hang out and talk with you, you're at the farmers market every Thursday.
Every Thursday from 9 to 10.
And you will field every weird question they can throw at you.
I will listen to every weird question they will throw at me.
Mayor Kelly Burke joining us at Durbins. Let's give her a hand real quick for joining us.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Chris.
Hannah, we have a guest from the First National Bank of Evergreen Park sitting here.
Yes, we do, as I pour my beer.
Jess, this is your official first time on the show, right? I mean,
Yes.
normally, like Danny kind of stopped by. We've had Mr. O'Malley over here, who basically started the bank. And is there pressure? Are you feeling pressure coming on the EP podcast, representing the First National Bank of Evergreen Park?
Following O'Malley, absolutely. Before we get there, let me just cheers.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and lean into the microphone when you talk to him.
Cheers.
There you
Oh,
go.
here we
Cheers.
go.
So glad
The
to have
louder
you.
you are in your headphones, the better you are on the microphone.
You know, my husband would disagree with that. He tells me to bring it down a notch, so this feels a little awkward that you're encouraging me to be loud.
You
okay?
belt it out. You belt it out.
He's gonna be like, wow, she was encouraged.
Get
So
yourself-
this is great.
Get loud
Great.
and enjoy it. That's what I
There
would
it
tell
is.
you to do. All right. So, first of all, I want to say thanks for coming out to Durbins.
Yes,
That
thank
was
you for the invite.
Really nice of the bank to support the EP podcast. You guys have done a great job just basically standing right behind us as we bring all this information and the news and the events and what's going on in Evergreen Park. Bring the mayor out and let the mayor speak to the people on the EP podcast. And with you guys as our proud sponsor, it has made things so much easier. So first off, thank you very much for that. When it comes to people walking in the bank now these days, as things are opening up, are you more or less stressed? Because when we had Danny on, Danny Roselle, who's from over at the bank as well, the last time he was on, we joked about the fact that how would you be able to tell if somebody was coming to rob the place because everybody had a mask on?
That had to have been nerve-wracking. It really had to
Was
have
that
been.
was that
Oh my
frightening
God,
for
yeah.
you? Like somebody walk in and be like, "Is that a mask for safety or is that a mask for robbing?"
Eek. I absolutely feel a lot better that things are starting to open up now. I love seeing all the smiling faces, all the,
Yes.
it's been a while since you've
You
seen
can
people
read
smile.
people's faces now. A
It's
lot of people
funny.
communicate with their face.
Yeah, I actually find I've learned to read the eyes a lot better.
Oh, yeah.
because people are so used to wearing masks, so I find myself trying to less squint with my eyes because now they can see my smile.
Yes.
Right.
So,
Right, and you know,
less nerve-wracking now.
And you guys you're the kind of bank that like people when they walk in. Like I can
Oh,
walk
yes.
into some other bank and it's like some conglomerate and they've got turnover or every 5 months there's a new person sitting in every desk and they have no idea who I am. And I walk in here and even with my mask on, you guys pick me out of a crowd right away. I see you say hi to everybody else. It's not just me. And so that was probably a big thing for you, was just losing a little bit of that personal, back and forth. But I think you did a pretty good job over the last year and a half doing it.
yeah, I'm absolutely blessed. I have a great team. I have tenured bankers, a tenured staff. I actually have two of my employees with me today. I got Mary Grogan, who knows everybody.
Who drew the short straw at the bank to come out to a bar for
of
work?
course.
Are they
They
getting paid
love
for this?
it.
Are they getting paid for
No,
this?
look
They
at
should be. Should be drinks. You get drinks on the bank.
Awesome.
You get paid for being here by the bank.
That's a community bank for you right there. They care about their employees. See that?
If you're working for anybody and they say, "Hey, we got to go do this stupid podcast," Really? I got to go do the yeah, but it's at a bar? Oh, all right, yeah, I'll go to a bar on a Thursday night.
I'll go for the stupid podcast.
Right, I'll go to the stupid podcast. Like, I'm sure people were diving for the opportunity to jump on this show.
You know what? I've got great people. I really have a great team ahead, around me. Like I said, I got Mary with me. She knows everybody under the sun. She's been chatting it up. I got Annabelle with me. She's our teller side supervisor. Both great personalities. I needed both of them here today so they can go ahead and mingle with the crowd. Oh my God, they're amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm fortunate.
Exactly. And they get to cut loose as soon as this is all over. So I don't want to.
What do you mean? Once it's over? Look at this.
Look at them right now.
Right.
Yucking it up over there.
They're good. They're good.
Give me, why you think it's a little bit different, especially for people who come into the bank, hang out with you guys, do their business with you. I know the EP podcast does business with you. What's the difference?
Huge difference. I've come from the big banks, and I've been in banking over 20 years. It's been.
When you say big bank, I just imagine evil people in a giant
boardroom.
Yeah, dun dun dun.
I really, really love the personal touch that we get out of a community bank, knowing people's names, like you mentioned earlier, being able to get involved in the community, getting in the opportunity to do those fun activities and just network and get to know people. I think you learn a lot about a person's personal interest when you have an opportunity to kind of step away from the big bank mentality.
You get to understand what they actually want.
Right, what's most important to them and not necessarily what's most important to the bank, right? So a community bank gives us the opportunity to really spend time doing that with folks. So
I've got an idea for you, though.
Yeah.
I've got something for the bank. I'm going to just propose it to you. She has no idea it's coming. I'm just going to throw it right here.
This is about
but now that
the
world is opening up, I think you should start doing tours of that building because that is the coolest building.
Oh my God.
I think you should allow people, you should do a whole guided tour, just like a brewery would have a guided tour of the back room of the brewery. That bank, you don't have to show anybody the safe. I don't want you getting robbed, okay? I'm not trying to get you robbed, but maybe the balcony area.
Show you the vacant upstairs.
The upstairs balcony area, maybe that little balcony that's up above 95th and Pulaski. I'm sure there's some way to get access to that. Maybe a little tour, I think would be really neat.
We were actually talking about the upstairs and kind of how to use that space, and my coworker was saying we should put a bunny up there for Easter, so they can wave at 95th.
The bunny waving at everybody. I
was
love it.
Wait a minute. We haven't fully opened. We're going to attract people when we're supposed to be 6 feet apart. So we didn't have the green light.
You can do it.
Yeah, now you can do it. Now you can do the bunny. Yeah, I'm
we're
all
just
for
going
it.
to put everything up there right
Why don't
now
you
to
put
catch
me up
up,
there?
Oh my God.
There you go.
Put me up there.
Podcast at the balcony.
I'm telling you right now, if you could get me
this.
up there, I would do an entire day up there on that balcony. I would love that.
We're going to have to make this work.
I would love that. We're gonna sit down and figure something out.
We should.
That we can do on that balcony.
What are you doing today, Chris? He's I'm hanging out on the balcony at the bank.
Exactly.
Perfect.
All right. So first of all, you did a great job.
Thank you.
You killed it. I think you hit all the things that you wanted to talk about. Okay.
Awesome.
You gave a great interview. But is there anything else that you want to make sure that I know about you guys, or that the listeners need to know about you guys right now?
Listeners need to know we have amazing accounts customized to any age group. We have junior savers accounts for the little kids. We have accounts for students if the kids are a little bit older, so 13 and older, they can get student accounts. And then we have an amazing promotion right now with our Total Access Checking, which gives you a $300 bonus with qualifying factors.
Right.
And unlimited ATMs. That's a big one for a lot of people.
You ever get people that try to scam that $300 thing? They walk in, they open up an account for $100. They keep the account long enough to get the $300 for free. Then they go and they leave. They open up another account.
Why are you just putting ideas in people's heads?
I'm just saying,
you know what? You can't.
You could scam the heck out of that plan, couldn't you?
They can't. We do have certain parameters in place. Yeah,
all right.
So we do have safety nets in place. But I will tell you, Chris,
back in the day, I used to try to get the free toaster from the TCF Bank and the Jewel. All right, I was like, what can I get for free out of you? These guys are giving away $300 in cash. I'm trying to figure out how to get as much as I can.
No,
don't hate the player, hate the game.
Hate the game.
Another show isn't wrapped up. Another show's in the books. Another show isn't wrapped up. And then by the looks, it's gonna be a good one. And we'll see you next week. And the nudist basement. And the nudist basement. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And it's in the books. Another show is wrapped up. Another show is wrapped up. And by the looks, It's gonna be a good one. Nudie's Basement. Broadcast Basement. The Nudie's Basement. The Broad Basement. Slancha.
The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found. And always at the eppodcast.com.